Okay, so today I just thought to speak on patience, patience, tolerance, endurance, forgiving, forgetting, letting go. There are so many words for this particular spiritual faculty. In Pāli, we call it khanti. It is called khanti for patience or endurance. So this is one of the parami. If you're familiar with the term parami, paramis mean perfections. In other words, spiritual qualities. For Buddha, to become Buddha, he had to follow, practice paramis, perfections. There are 10 perfections. So one of them is parami. So even Buddha, he just didn't become Buddha suddenly or accidentally, but it is a long journey that he went through. And it's a journey that's not only about this particular life, but he had thousands of lives where he practiced these perfections, these paramis. He sort of developed himself, because there was a point in his life when he was totally like all of us, like a proper human being, right? He was just like all of us. But then he took up these practices, spiritual. They are also known as prerequisites for enlightenment, to achieve enlightenment. So he got the blessing from the earlier Buddha, one of the earlier Buddha, called Dipankara Buddha. So Dipankara Buddha was one of the Buddha, like our Buddha is called Gautama Buddha or Gautama Buddha. So in Sanskrit it is called Gautam, and in Pali Gautama. So because his clan was Gotra, was Gautama. So he took that oath, that journey or that goal of becoming a Buddha. So he very intentionally, as a goal, he took up that path of Buddhahood from the past Buddha. So there are 10 paramis, and one of them is, as I said, patience. So today we will try to understand what is this patience, and of course all of you are already maybe aware of this, but let's again dive into this particular spiritual quality and how it is important for us in our spiritual practice. So in Dhammapada, it is said, Khanti Paramang Tapo Titikka, which means practice of khanti, practice of patience, is the highest austerity, highest tapasya. You may be familiar with this term tapasya. In India we use a lot tapasya, sadhana, as some sort of spiritual practice. So it's a very powerful one. Is the highest tapasya. Okay, so I just I'm going to read a small words, a small one page from one of the senior monk from the forest tradition. we have this tradition among monks called the forest tradition. So they stay in the forest, or at least near the forest, if not in the deep in the forest, in the vicinity of forest. So they are called the forest monk, and because they lead a very simple kind of life. So he has written some small this thing on Khanti. So I thought I will read out that, and that will give you a very very good clarity, understanding in simple language and simple explanation, yet very profound, yet very appealing. It is coming from his own. It is coming from his own mind after going through a very long spiritual practice in that particular tradition. So his name is Venerable Pasanno. So let's just read out. Let me just read out, and then for all of you. It is helpful to contemplate how to use Khanti, patience, in our daily practice. How can we do in day-to-day life? How can we cultivate it as a mental attitude during meditation? Okay, we can practice in a meditation as well, in our day-to-day life. Patience is an underrated parami and considered in different ways, sometimes even misinterpreted. So we don't much speak about patience, it seems. So we just talk about meditation, of course. We talk about generosity. We talk about loving each other, but patience is not so much spoken about, but it is very important. And sometimes it is misrepresented. How it is misrepresented? I remember Varapanyo Bhikkhu, one of the monk, disparaging himself, saying, I just don't have any paramis of wisdom, meditation, loving kindness, or anything like that. But at least I can just put up with this. I can build some Khanti parami. His attitude reminded me of the depressed but lovable donkey Eon from Winnie the Pooh. So what he's saying is sometimes people sort of somehow misrepresent Khanti, patience, as, okay, maybe I don't have anything, maybe I don't think I'm very wise. I don't think I'm very good at spiritual practice. Let me just go along, by not being proactive. And that's what the next it is all about, because sometimes we are just like, we are a little bit inactive, in the name of patience. We don't do anything, right? We don't sort of push ourselves. We are a little bit inactive. So what about activeness he speaks, Khanti is actually a proactive engaging with experience in a way that's not getting caught up in or swayed by the reaction and impulses of either liking or disliking, or of desire and aversion. It has an enduring quality to it. Okay, so now Khanti is also, it is not just about stepping back, because these days we talk about stepping back, just step back. We talk a lot about that in today's narrative, in spiritual narrative. But it is also an active engagement with the experiences, right? Which means you are not trying to run away. Yeah, you're not trying to run away from your day-to-day life, your experiences, right? You don't want to hide somewhere. You don't want to, you should not be, trying to escape. It's not about escapism. Buddhism is not about escapism, including monkhood. So don't think that monks are escapistic, like escapist. right? It's not like we ran away from family duties or whatever, but it is not so, right? Because we chose this life, and it is also a kind of a system, like you have your civil society social system. In monkhood, we do have a proper system, like you have a civil society with constitution and all those things. We as a monk, we also have a very proper, some maybe 7, 8, 9 volumes of books on how a monk should live. All the rules, regulations, all the systems, all the orders, all the hierarchies and everything, and it's not like we have a random lifestyle. So in this practice also, we we have a very proper duty. We as a monk, we also have a duty of our own. We have a routine, we have a system, we also have goals. We also have to follow certain responsibilities, from morning till evening. So it's not like we are just random and, just don't care kind of attitude. We don't have like that. So in the same way, we as all of you, and I can say we, all of us, including you and us, we also need to have this attitude of engaging with others, and in the process, what happens is that don't get caught up or swayed by the reaction and impulses of either liking or disliking, or of desire and aversion. So now, as you engage in your day-to-day experiences, in your day-to-day activities, you will have experiences of both liking and disliking, reaction, right? You should not be caught up or being swallowed by the reaction, impulses of either liking or disliking. So we have these impulses, right? All of us has these impulses, reactivity, reaction, which just comes, on its own. We don't really think, it just comes up. Every one of us have our own reaction. Sometimes even non-reactivity in terms of, through body and speech, we may not react through body and speech, but mentally we are reacting, right? We just sort of keep it to ourselves, right? We suppress our reaction somehow, but then one day it will blast, it will just blast, right? So then what Buddha is saying is that, what this Bhante monk is saying is that we have this impulse and reaction, so we don't get caught up. So these reactions are of two kinds: liking or disliking, desire or aversion. You like something, you dislike something. This is all about life. All our life, we like something, we don't like something. We like somebody, we don't like somebody. This is good for you, this is not good. So this just comes up. This reaction is all about our life, right? So we don't get caught up in that, which means if you like something or somebody, you don't get too much attached to that, and if you don't like something, you don't so much avert, you don't so much dislike, or you don't try to just irritated, you don't feel anger, or you don't push, you don't push too much, right? You don't push too much, though it comes, right? I mean, you basically work with your own reaction impulses of liking and disliking. Okay, whether somebody says something to you, or somebody does something to you, that reaction and reactivity is something to be looked into. So that is endurance, that is patience. So that is patience. So patience is not just a thing of, say, okay, if I being patient, then I mean, I have to be patient. What I can do not with that compulsion. You don't do out of compulsion, that okay, I have to be patient, there's no other way. It's not about that. It's about your attitude. It's about your personality. It's about your training of the mind. It's about your inner self, wherein you engage at the same time you are having this sort of distance, a slight distance between your likes and dislikes, with regard to likes and dislikes, with regard to aversion and desire, liking, disliking. It has an enduring quality to it. So one of the phrases the Buddha uses to describe the impulses of mind is abhijja domanasa, desire and aversion, or a gladness, sadness type of impulse. We can try to have an enduring and patient attitude toward that, so we are not reactive. When we are not reactive, then desire and aversion, liking and disliking, go their natural way and cease. So when we are engaged in some sort of interaction, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, the mind isn't getting swept up in it. Similarly, when we are engaged in some kind of task, chores, or duty, and we have been cultivating patience, then what comes to mind is a kind of gravitas, a sense of weight, ballast, or anchor in the mind that isn't pulled around. So what we do is, Buddha always speaks about this abhijja domanasa, abhijja. Abhijja means covetousness, that is too much attached to something, and domanasa is disliking, or disliking, and it's disliking. You want to push away. So this is something that we look into, and then when we don't react, when we don't fuel the liking and disliking, then what happens? It will go in their natural way and cease. So when we are not fueling our own liking and disliking, then it will just cease. It will just melt down, right? That way we work with our own likes and dislikes. Now, these likes and dislikes for all of us, it is different according to our own karmic store, because we as an individual, right, we underwent different forms of action, different forms of activity, in our lives. And it is not just about this life, it's many lives, uncountable lives we had. So we all carry some different form of reactivity to situations, some different form of liking and disliking, So it is not so easy for us to just suddenly be non-reactive to things. It is difficult. And why I say this is that why I say it is difficult for us is to make ourselves understand when we look into other people, right? We have this thing in our mind a lot of time that we that we want to see some changes in other people, right? We always talk about, oh, this person needs to change. He has this attitude. She has this attitude, and it sucks. I just don't like it. His or her attitude really is horrible or troublesome, right? So you have to understand that that particular person is carrying that particular attitude for many lives, for so many lives. So is it easy for that person to suddenly drop it out? No, it is not easy. So with this understanding also, we have to endure people. We have to endure situation. Our own karmic formation. It is called, in Pāli, it is called sankhara. Sankhara is karmic formation, which means our habit that is so much from life to life. we are engaged in. So it's not so easy for us to suddenly come out of that, So when somebody has certain attitude, don't worry much, okay? don't get irritated. Don't get irritated, because you just bring in this understanding, inside you, that that person is carrying it for many lives. So let me just bear it. Okay. So that's what you do, and now Bhante is saying, in all our day-to-day tasks, chores, duty, we we have to follow this. We have to do that, in our day-to-day life. So this patience is something we need to, not just in meditation. In meditation too, we do practice patience, but in our day-to-day lives as well. Whatever we are doing, whatever duty we are doing, whatever work we are doing, whatever activities we are involved in, as simple as any simple thing like just interacting with somebody, every single time we have to be patient. We can practice patience, and it is not just about have to be, as I already mentioned before. It should not be just a compulsion. It is a very much a spiritual quality, that you practice. And then you are not only melting away your own strong reactivity, but you are also sort of helping others to melt away their reactivity as well, right? Because when somebody is reacting to you in a certain way and you do not feel it, right? So that sort of dies down. Their reactivity also dies down, right? So when you react, then you are also fueling your own and theirs as well. Okay. So slowly we do that. We melt away, we melt down this particular reactivity that we have. And then what happens? So then you have this kind of gravitas, a sense of weight, ballast, or anchor in the mind that isn't pulled around. So you have this strong, eventually you have this strong state of mind, a strong foundation within your heart, within your mind, that is very stable, concrete, that is unmovable, unshakable, then you are victorious, right? You are victorious. Nobody can challenge you. Nobody can pull you, push you. Now, all your happiness, all your this thing is dependent on others, right? If somebody is, especially your beloved people, if they say something good to you, you are very happy. If they don't say something bad, something good to you, you are not happy. He didn't call me, she didn't call me, or said something nasty to me. So you are what you are. You are just pushed here and there as people like. People are pushing you around as they like, right? So now you have this gravitas, this stability, right, that you built within yourself. Buddha mentioned in Ratana Sutra, in the Khila, Yathinda Khilo, Pataving Sitosya, Chatubhivate, Hi Asampakampyo, Tathupamang Sappuri Samvadam. So just like in the Khila is traditionally, there used to be this kind of a pillar in Indian culture, like you see Ashokan pillar, you see a lot in Sarnath and all. So this is strong pillar. So those are like a stone kind of pillar, very long, and it is as long as it is, it will be longer, inside the ground as well. So this is very strong. Chatubi vatehi, from the wind from all direction. Chatubi vata is the wind. With all the wind from all the direction, it will not shake. In the same way that Arya, that enlightened people, their mind is like that. So you don't shake, And it doesn't mean that you become like a vegetable, right? It's not like you are so a cold and sad kind of, I mean, not sad, it's not like you're cold and boring and very, it's not like, like that, but it's that you are stable and you actually radiate stability, peace, happiness, all those things come because reactivity give rise to anger, unpleasantness, fighting, quarreling, disliking, all those restlessness, distrust, and cynicism, skeptical, confusion, right? But with stability comes joy, peace, happiness, strength, and peace, and harmony, and joy, and that's what we want, right? We really have that. So okay, but that comes with the stable mind. I have never come across a satisfying translation of Khanti. Khanti, in patience, endurance, doesn't quite get it. In general, I think it's important to reflect on it in terms of how it manifests for us. How do I turn the mind toward a quality that isn't swayed, pushed, or pulled? It's a willingness to be present with experience, and especially important in meditation. When any of the five hindrances come up, they feel quite compelling and true as moods. We attempt to have an enduring quality of mind that is present with the hindrances and attends to them as they follow their natural cycle, arising, persisting, ceasing. They come into being and pass away. One of the functions of patience is to help us refrain from feeding our defilements. When we are not feeding or not nourishing our reactive moods, then there is a real steadiness there. With Khanti present, we are not trying to manipulate conditions around us so that they suit our preferences, or to manipulate people to make them pleasing to be around. Neither worldly condition nor people are going to fulfill our preferences or desires. But when we have Khanti to receive our experience, then we are not shaken by them. Okay, so it's also very deep, so in meditation, you also have these five hindrances, so five hindrances. First one is all kinds of all kinds of this sort of distraction, laziness, doubt, and irritability, or your mind is in some sort of addiction that you have. So these are the hindrances that come up in meditation, right? So you also in meditation, you don't sort of dislike them. You don't come to the conclusion that I am a bad person, or I'm a bad meditator, or I'm not a good meditator. Don't come to that conclusion. You endure that. You endure you as an individual. People, when they see something wrong in themselves, they just come to conclusion that they are bad or they are useless, just like they do with others. So we accept who we are, what we are in whatever situation we are in, and from there we grow. It is the same in meditation, in our life as well, right? We don't come to conclusion. We don't sort of judging, what we call judging. What is judging? Judging is giving this ultimate kind of a verdict that you are this, you are that, But we are a changing being, And what Buddha said, what here he says, arising, persisting, and ceasing. Upatti, Thiti, Bhanga. Upatti, Thiti, Bhanga. Everything arises, persists, and vanishes, falls down. Just like a wave. Just like a wave, it comes up, persists for some time, and falls down. In the same way, Buddha spoke about this concept of anicca, which is that every experiences in our life, whether physical, whether emotional, whether feeling, whether our habit, everything just comes up, stay for some time and goes down. It's just that fast. And this is so fast, it is much faster than any light speed or any other kind of speed. The fastest thing is our mind. Comes out and down, comes out, stay for down. So it just changed. So we just change. We are a changing being. So how can we give ourselves verdict? How can we give others verdict that this person is like this person is this person is that? No. Nobody is always like this or like that. Everybody is a changing being. Everyone changes. Now, it is in our hand. How do we change ourselves for better? By the help of patience, and understanding. So we don't feed our defilements, which means we see that in meditation, okay, for example, you get anger in your meditation. So what do? You don't feed on it, which means if you get some sort of, if you remember somebody and you are getting angry, you're not feeding it by saying, yes, that fellow was bad, he's bad, he did this, he did that, he did. Instead, what do? You watch it, you accept it. Yeah, I have anger. Yes, this is what happened. But let me just come out of it, by remembering some good quality of that individual, because every individual has some good quality. So remember the good quality, and you wish them, you just being compassionate to them, saying, oh, this person did this to me, but maybe he or she is going through some of this problem. That's why he or she might have reacted that way. So you're being compassionate to them. Okay. So that way you do that, and you wish that, may they come out of that problem, may they be more better, and then you become peaceful. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. Metta, karuna, like that you do. So you watch that, whatever experience you have, accept that as it is, and then try to improve on that bit by bit, through meditation, through your day-to-day mindfulness, what we call the applied mindfulness, which means you do that every moment of your life, So that's what you do. And so what we do, we are steady. So one of the thing here we mention is that we don't manipulate the condition around us so that they suit to our preferences, or to manipulate people to make them pleasing to be around. Neither worldly condition nor people are going to fulfill our preferences or desire. But when we have continued to receive our experiences, then we are not shaken by them. You see? So what we usually try to do, we manipulate. We manipulate the condition. We create the condition around. We try to create the condition around us that suits to our preferences, our likes and dislikes, right? That's what we do, right? Okay, I don't like this, I don't like that, change it, keep changing. So how long you will change? Can you change the whole world according to your preferences? Is it possible? Not possible. It's very difficult to do that. So we don't do that. We instead try to change our own reaction by being enduring, by being tolerating, by being patient. It's a very, very important one, right? So we try not to change, though we can do changes, of course, it is a must thing, but not out of reactivity, not out of disliking or liking, right? So we don't do that too much, right? We try whenever necessary we do, but not on a regular basis, or not expecting that mentally, and also physically we don't do that. We don't manipulate people, conditions according to this thing. As part of the ethos and flavor of Ajahn Chah's training, the development of the Khanti Parami was strongly encouraged. So we would have a good, solid foundation in our practice, a foundation that help to steady us despite the changing circumstances and conditions of our lives. So finally, we need to, as I mentioned, we need to have this strong, solid foundation within us, so that we are not shaken, we are not pushed and pulled by the changing circumstances, by the changing situation in our life. We become stable, in our experience. And in Mangala Sutta, Buddha mentioned about the 8 conditions of the world, labhe, alabhe, yase, ayase, ninda, pasamsa, sukha, dukha. That is gain and loss. In our life, we have gain and loss, good name, bad name, praise and blame, and happiness and misery. So these conditions are there in the world. So we are not, Kuttasa lokadame chittam yasa na kampati, nahi kampta hai, doesn't shake. So if we don't shake ourselves, if we don't allow ourselves to be shaken by all these conditions in the world, which is always there, which is always going to be there, no matter what, all these conditions are going to be there in our lives. So we don't allow ourselves to be so much, shaken or pull and push and, affected. So we try to do that. So, but of course, it's again a process, till we actually achieve enlightenment. It's a process that we do. So as Bhante is saying, it is very part of our practice. We may not be totally patient all the time. Of course, we still will go through our own attitude, our own habitual practices, but we try slowly as part of our practice to smoothly, steadily, practice this endurance, and then we become bit by bit steadier and steadier and more stable and stable, And when we become ultimately stable, we are enlightened. That's what enlightenment is all about. When the patience is practiced to its taken to its peak, that is enlightenment. Okay, so and then you are happier, you are stronger, you are unaffected, you are powerful. Okay, so something that you need to practice in your day-to-day life, in meditation strongly, of course, and in your day-to-day life. Every moment of your life you can practice. Sometimes maybe you are unmindful, you may end up not practicing, but just but that's also important. That also is an opportunity, because sometimes you being unmindful, you give your mind to impatient. Just accept it, just know it, and then work with it. Don't just judge yourself. Don't come to conclusion saying that, oh, I'm impatient, I'm a horrible impatient fellow. Don't come to that kind of conclusion. Neither you can conclude with regard to other people as well. So just being patient and enduring, and as is mentioned here, patience and endurance is not like just like a vegetable. No, it's actually a proactive thing. You put yourself in that situation, position, and then practice it, and so then you are actually overcoming all those hindrances within yourself, all those obstacles within yourself, So put yourself in the situation, and then in a tandem manner, just work with yourself as you navigate through your experiences in your life. You do your things, and simultaneously you are also being aware of patience as a proactive thing. As a proactive thing, you are active. It's not like you are inactive. So patience is a very much an active spiritual, mental, or quality, a very deep and powerful mental quality, spiritual quality that we can practice. It's not just usually what we think, oh, okay, let people do whatever, I have to be patient. No, that's wrong. Of course you can respond, you can say something, you can respond to people, not reacting but responding. You can respond to people, you can respond to situation, but with a responsive mind, not with a responsible and responsive mind, not with a reactive kind of mind. right? And then you are achieving your own goals in life. At the same time, you are also achieving the spiritual goal. So spiritual goal and your day-to-day goal is not separate. It's very much part and parcel. In fact, they complement each other, right? They help each other. Okay. So you do that, in your day-to-day life. Whatever the condition is, you can do a lot, and grow in your goal as well as grow in spiritual goal. They are together. Don't think they are separate. They just help each other. Okay, so I think we conclude here our Sunday gathering, Sunday program. So thank you all of you for coming. Some of you coming regularly, and some of you may be new. So keep coming, and we conclude here, and we wish all of you good health, happiness, and joy, and may you all be free from worries and problems and difficulties, and may all your wishes be fulfilled. May you all grow in spiritual path and achieve the ultimate happiness of Nibbana. With this wish, we all bless you. Bhavato sabba galang rakhanto sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sothi bhavantu te bhava galang rakhanto sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sothi bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangala rakhantu sabba devata sabba sangha vena sada uddhe bhavantu te sadhu sadhu sadhu.